Sound any better?
No, not really.
Nope.
It's fine. It'll work.
Processing. And we're up.
We are.
Wait 1 second. Let's give everybody a minute to
Sound any
log in.
No, not really.
Everybody got their drink?
Yep.
Yep.
In it for the long haul tonight.
Sound any-
Log in. Oh, someone's got to mute their speakers.
Everybody got their drink?
In it for the long haul tonight.
Bill's busted.
Bill, someone's got to mute their.
I'm working at it. It is
You don't
muted.
want the response you got in Milwaukee, Jordan.
It was a good show, except for that part. That was a long time ago now. All right. Just put this one thing up here and I think we're good.
There we go.
Right, there we go. I think we're all set to start. It's 7:01. Good evening, everybody. We're here for another Rapido event. We've got everybody wearing blue shirts today, very appropriately. We've got Dan Darnell, myself, Jordan, Josh Andershuk, and Bill Schneider. And we have a whole bunch of interesting stuff today. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good, yeah.
Pretty good.
Keep cool.
Yeah. How are you and your air conditioning?
It'll be installed in a week.
Oh, perfect.
It's actually cooled
Right
off
after the
here.
heat wave, right?
Yeah, today wasn't too bad actually.
Yeah, better than yesterday. So that's good anyways. We'll give everyone just a minute and I think we'll jump right into it. Of course, we're announcing GEVOs, aren't we?
In N scale, I hear.
That's right.
In every
Along with 4 new buses. Oh, that was supposed to.
All built by GE, right?
and only appropriate for Jason Plato in
Of
1980.
course. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, GEVOs ran on the Kingston sub in 1980, didn't they?
Sure. Actually, I don't think any of the stuff we're announcing probably ran on the Kingston sub in the 80s. But anyway, why don't we get right into it then? Do you have your little presentation there, Josh?
I do.
All right, let's
So just get started here.
get the title screen up. All right, here we go. I'll
Look at
set
that
up
fancy
the-
thing.
Very fancy. Fancy.
So this is kind of unusual tonight because the newsletter actually isn't going out until tomorrow on this stuff. So this is the first
This
announcement.
is the launch.
Yeah. This is uncharted territory for us.
Yeah, the newsletter will be going out tomorrow morning, and but we're announcing everything tonight, which is
Newsletter and website. So the website will be live
Yeah.
tomorrow.
yeah, exactly. Everything will be online probably by, I'm gonna guess by lunch tomorrow if everything works out. So anyway, why don't we jump right into the first thing? What is our first big announcement today?
Well, for one thing, we're actually announcing 5 new products today, not 4.
Yeah, we were making up that the 4 was inaccurate. There are 5 announcements.
All right, so first one
First one,
is more HOB 36-7 locomotives.
yes, and in paint schemes we haven't done before.
Exactly, like
Yeah.
the one we've got up on screen right now.
Yep, so we've got what we can see on the screen. This is the Santa Fe Kodachrome B36-7 in HO scale, of course. We've got the Conrail White Stripe, Conrail Quality, and we've got 2 SPs. We've got the As Delivered SP, and we also have, well, sorry, not As Delivered paint scheme, and we also have the Speed Letter SP B36s. And these are actually have some tooling adjustments. So we'll get to that in one sec. But why don't we start off with Kodachrome? So there was actually very few Kodachrome B36-7s. None of the SPs got repainted like that. Only a couple of Santa Fe's. And this is the only, we're actually only doing 1 road number because the other one that got repainted was actually a slightly different body design. So this is, there's just 1 of the Santa Fe's in this release. But the Conrails and the Southern Pacifics, we've got, I think we've got 4 of each number coming from,
Three.
yeah, we've got, oh, sorry, we got them right on the screen there. So there we go. Now there's something interesting about this. These have actually already gone into production, are actually about ready to leave the factory. So they are coming in probably the end of July, August, something like that, as I recall.
Depending on how long they take to get from China, but yeah, they're ready to leave.
There may be a delay with the containers.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a slight delay on that. We were hoping they were going to ship by now, but they will be coming very quickly in this kind of the next couple months. Actually, going back to the SPs, we've actually done some tooling modifications. I didn't mention that before. In the late 80s, early 90s, they modified these with the straddle beacons. This was after the failed Santa Fe merger. So they mounted a straddle beacon just kind of where the emergency light was between the number boards, above the number boards there. And they also blanked off some of the other, the gyro lights and emergency lights. Only 2, I believe, got the speed lettering, and the other ones, we've actually added a couple of the as delivered Roman lettered units for this release as well, but with the updated detailing. So pretty much from the late 80s onwards, these lasted well into the 2000s, as I recall. So you've got a bit of a new time frame for these engines. Same with the Conrails. This is kind of a early 90s. They lasted right into about 2008 or 9. Most of them got carted off to South America, I believe, but it's newer paint schemes.
We'll have to
Something else is
update,
because these have already been produced, unlike most of our other releases, quantities are limited to what has been made. So it is going to be very much a first come, first serve, unfortunately, on these things. So
and these have the
Get the
new
orders in
amber
quickly.
LEDs, right? Jordan,
What's that?
they have the new LEDs for the rotary. They're not red like our last one. They're amber.
Oh, no, these are definitely not going to be red. These are an amber rotary. I think we've made sure of that this time. So we don't want that issue. But also on the Conrails, we are including ditch lights on these units. And are the red markers they're operating markers, Josh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Just like the first one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty exciting. And we do have very limited numbers left in terms of ordering direct. Well, this is when we go live with the website tomorrow. They're going to be fairly limited in terms of stock, but we actually launched this to dealers a couple of days ago. So distributors and dealers have ordered these up. So if you can't get them off our website, please go see your store. They'll be getting that shipment probably in, like I said, probably around August, somewhere abouts there. And these, of course, these are all DCC sound equipped locomotives with ESU V5 decoders. So that's pretty exciting. I think I ordered a couple of these myself. So
Yeah. And just for updated delivery schedules, just be sure to check our website. We'll keep that updated as to when these arrive and when they be shipped out.
yeah, and we'll be posting that on Facebook, Instagram, whatnot as that updates. And I think we're going to try and do a YouTube video as well once the time comes. So stay tuned for that. So that's pretty exciting. What's the next announcement we have here? I think this one's for you, Josh.
Yeah, so that's one down. So the next one, much like the B36, these have already been produced, so limited numbers, but we are offering more of our Gunderson 53-foot Husky stack well car. There's been a number of improvements to these cars. We're also offering a new paint scheme, Ferromex. Bought some of these cars actually not that long ago. They've got a couple of hundred now in service. We're doing more CP. We're doing another number of the TTX on track for a cure, as well as TTX as delivered, the TTX patched, as well as a full repaint. But one of the big improvements we've made to these cars is actually see-through end grills. This was an evolution of one of our earlier projects in the prime mover lines that never really took off. And we ended up modifying the tooling for these fairly early in the first run. They had eroded metal walkways, but they weren't see-through. And we definitely heard a lot of customers' opinions on this. So when we decided to make these, we actually had the factory remove the backing so that they're now proper see-through walkways.
Mhm.
So, and there's a graphic showing the new paint schemes, again, on track for a cure. This is a different model and slightly different artwork from the one we already announced. Canadian Pacific, all new numbers. Ferromex is an entirely new paint scheme. TTX as delivered is another series of new numbers. The patched car, new numbers. I believe that's also a new paint scheme, as I'm not sure if we did that one before. And then full repaints.
Yeah, and we've also updated the coloring on the TTX repaints as well from the first release.
Yes.
And also keep in mind that we're not including the containers in this run. So this is just individual well cars on their own, standalone.
Yep.
Now, in terms of availability, we are actually mostly already sold out here at Rapido, except for, I believe, Ferromex, there's going to be a handful left, but dealers have put their orders in, so stores will have these in stock when they arrive. And these are actually, are they on the way up? I believe these are already in Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they are.
Yeah, I believe they landed in BC just a day or two ago. So ETA on these is probably about 2 weeks out, and we'll be shipping those out pretty quickly towards the end of this month. All right. Should we move on to the next one?
All right. Did you want to do a Q&A first?
Sure. Let's see if we got any questions here. What have we got? One sec here. I've got to see what we've got on our list. We don't have, right now, we don't have a person sending us our Skype messages like we do. So hopefully they'll be joining up a little bit later.
Our man behind the scenes, if you will.
Yes, exactly.
Something about having to do a newsletter or something. That's
I give him credit. Yeah, if you didn't actually say he's doing the newsletters now, you'd never know. He's actually filled in for Jason quite well.
Mhm. Yeah, he's done a great job taking that over from him. There's people asking about ordering UK products in Canada and the US. So this is something that we're working on right now. So we're working on a brand new website, which is expected to go live sometime in the next month or so, just as a vague kind of idea. And once that goes live, we're going to be integrating pre-orders for all UK items, and vice versa. If you're in Europe or in the UK, our UK page now has pre-orders available right now for North American products. So that's going to be coming up in the next couple months. If you are in Canada, US, you can order any UK items, and they will be fulfilled direct from our warehouse in Markham. So that's something we're still working on. I think we're going to be doing a beta test on the website probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I know that's been in the works for a long time now, and we'll be announcing something about that very soon, maybe in the next newsletter, which isn't probably too far off itself. Let's see if we've got any other questions here, or should we go right to the next thing?
We can go to the next one.
All right.
Who wants to take it on?
I think we'll let Bill take care of this one.
But Bill has number 4.
Oh, it's not.
Dan,
Bill, is it?
Dan,
No.
let Dan do this one. Dan can do this.
Okay. I'm getting the order mixed up already.
Yeah, see, that's why I had to write down notes.
Yes, we've got the PCNF B100 40 foot, 40 foot, 50 foot boxcar, Southern Pacific. This is going to be an M scale. We've already announced it in HO. And I believe this was Jordan's baby from the start in HO.
Mhm.
And we are also doing it in the Amtrak version, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, so we're doing all the same numbers and road names as the HO version. There's the CAD renderings of the N scale B100 40 class boxcar. So we've got Amtrak in 2 paint schemes, Southern Pacific, Golden West, Columbus and Greenville, I believe. And what else are we doing? Oh, some SPUP repaints. So there's the full list there.
On the Amtrak ones, are we doing the EOT on the end, like we did in HO?
I can't remember. Go back to that CAD rendering for just a sec. I'm not sure if that's on that particular
It's not on that rendering, no.
It's not on the rendering yet, but I think that's still in the works. But you can see we've done the Amtrak door wheel. So we've got either the standard PC&F door latch or the wheel that Amtrak retrofitted onto those in the late 90s. And of course, you got full hydro cushion under frame. We've got on the ends of the cars, that's a separate ladder setup, couple of cut bars. The door rods are a separate piece. Lots of really nice detailing in these models. And the B100 did really well in HO, so we're really excited to bring it to the N scale market as well. Again,
For everybody that says, why don't you do it in N scale immediately after we announce something? See, we
There you
actually get
go.
around to it sometimes.
yeah, yeah, we've been on a bit of a roll lately. We've got what have we announced in N scale lately? We've got the tank cars. We announced those previously and a bunch of other stuff. So we're starting to do more N scale stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we got any more questions here. Do we have any more plans for to get into maybe into more commuter market products that we haven't already announced? Maybe additions to existing products, new road names, locomotives.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely planned for things like the comet cars. There's a couple of different body styles we can do on the existing frame. There's other paint schemes. There's new road names as well. Even with locomotives, I mean, the F40 frame can really evolve into a bunch of other F40 variants. I mean, we're always open to it. It's just commuter market is such a challenge because it's very hit and miss. Sometimes it can be a bestseller, other times it can just fall flat. And that's always the big challenge and the big risk going into something commuter based.
We've got another question about the telephone poles on a bit of a different topic. Do you think we'll ever be bringing those back again? And why haven't we?
Not in their previous format.
Yeah.
The problem was that we actually gave the factory a purchase order to rerun them, and they came back with a new price where our raw cost was about equal to the old retail, because of the complexity of just stringing all the wires and so forth. So that pretty much nixed them at the moment.
We talked several times with Jason about turning them into a kit.
Yep, we've talked about doing that, and I think
We're looking at that.
Yep.
At least the advantage of doing a kit is you're not stuck with the CN prototype. You can be a little bit more flexible with the design.
Yeah.
Customize it to what your home road used.
like only 2 or 3 crosstalks.
Oh, you mean the budget line?
Yes, that's right. Oh, we didn't have much to talk about on the telegraph. Like I said.
We strung one telegraph line on the ONW.
Make it easier to string the wires.
Exactly. I'll just while we're kind of in between announcements here, I'll put our regular monthly plug for people to visit our product production and delivery schedule. There's always lots of people asking when something's due. We actually, a lot of the emails that we get specifically say you've not provided any information on products being released, but believe it or not, we do have that web page on our site. It has a list of every product, what their production status is, whether they're in tooling, whether they've been put into production, whether they've been completed and left the factory, or they're in transit. So please visit our website for a complete list of all products coming in or in production. That's on rapidotrains.com. Just click on the product delivery schedule, and all the information that is there is the same information we have. We don't have any kind of secrets about where things are or what's coming, aside from the surprise announcements. Aside from
Other than what we're talking about tonight, everything else.
Yes.
Good one, Jordan.
Everything else is on that schedule. That's been officially announced. So
That page actually does get updated quite often. So
it does. I know Dan Garcia keeps that pretty accurate. I know he updates it at least, if not every week, every other week, a couple times a month at least. It gets refreshed. So please bookmark that on your computer or on your phone. So Bill, do you want to make your announcement? If I'm still in the right order, that is.
If it's next, I'll be happy to make it, sure.
Yeah, he's in the right order.
There we
All
go.
right. So the next HO freight car that we're going to be tooling up is the USRA single sheath boxcar. And I have to apologize. I was messaging with my buddy Brian last night, who was trying desperately to get me to tell him what it was. But Brian, we do take direct deposit now, so we're doing enough for you, so we should be good. Yeah, so the USRA single sheath, we've done the double sheath car. They built 25,000 of each in the early late teens, rather, like 1919. These cars went to numerous roads. I think there were 22 original owners on the single sheath car. They lasted quite late. Many of them lasted into the 50s and a few into the 60s in their original form, and some were later rebuilt. We'll be doing a number of different roads on these, each one with 6 road numbers. Josh, do you have a full listing? Oh, we can talk about it. So these are the preliminary CAD renders. These are the 3D CAD renders. We are doing 3 different doors on these. The wood door, which was on most of the cars, but then later several railroads upgraded with either a Youngstown corrugated door or a Creco panel door or something similar. So we've got all 3 doors as options, and each road name will have the appropriate door attached to it, depending on the paint scheme. We're also doing K brakes and AB brakes. The models will be fitted with one, and as we've done before, the other one will be in the parts bag, so you can redate the model to fit your time period a little bit closer.
We actually have, when we did the previous runs, we had a lot of questions about what that extra part was in the double sheet card, and that is the other brake system.
It's the thing you need to make the other brake, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
This again is a computer render mock-up. The design work is done on this. We're about ready to go to tooling now. You see it's got the Karmer cut levers on it, separate wire grabs, the stem winder handbrake. And again,
Actual tooling in the boards looks fantastic.
yeah, the boards, as opposed to putting big heavy grooves in between, we're trying something a little bit different with a little kind of a stair stepping to get the board effect, but without the big heavy grooves. And based on the CAD renders, it's coming out beautiful.
I got to say, the renders that John does are absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
They are.
It's
Yeah,
really-
thanks to John for sitting here and playing with these things in his computer program. He has all the tools. So yeah, as I mentioned, we're doing a whole bunch of different road names. Covers pretty much the entire country. And for Brian, we're doing 12 car numbers in the Penske so that he can go completely broke on the X26s. And I've got D&Hs because I need them for my interchange line here. But there's see quite a few different road names. Again, every 1 in 6 road numbers. For the dealers, every one of these is packaged individually and then shrink wrapped together for the 6 so that they can just be broken down and resold.
There's a nice mixture of parts of the US too. So you've got East Coast, West Coast, a lot of Midwest road names. Yep. So there's really something for everybody in this release.
And the nice thing here is that, with the exception, I think, of the New York Central, when we did the double sheath cars, we had one group of road names. The New York Central is the only one that actually owned both single and double sheath cars. So this is all new road names for us from what we've released before.
Yep. And I should mention, these would have always or would have been very common up here in Canada too, right into the 50s. They would have been pretty much any of these road names could have been seen north of the border. And
when we did the double sheath car, I got numerous emails about, how come you're not doing the single sheath? Are you doing it? Well, yes, it just takes us a little while to get around to it.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Should we answer one more question before we go on to number 5? Let's see what we've got here. We could dig something out of this list. Yes, but we're definitely not announcing Jeepos. We posted that surprise, that teaser image. Yeah, we're not making Jeepos. I think there's enough people that make those already, so we'll leave it to them. But yeah. All right, should we go on to the last one then?
Sure.
All right.
So the last one is not a rail vehicle. It is a bus, and I'm going to keep people waiting just a little bit. For anyone that has followed some of our announcements for the new look bus, we had previously announced a paint scheme that magically disappeared for reasons that basically we were not allowed to discuss. So here we are stuck with some models that had already been injected, and we needed to solve a problem, but to paint them. So for anyone that is on the west coast of Canada, I give you Edmonton Transit. So these operated in the city of Edmonton. For the most part, they stayed in this scheme from the 80s right through the 90s and even early 2000s. And this is our TDH 5303 model. Much like some of the other ones we've done. These are already made. We've made 5 numbers available with various signs. Anyone who might be an Edmonton Oilers fan, sorry for your departure from the playoffs this year. There is one signed up as Route 70 Coliseum. And we tried to pick a variety of routes across the city so that they're somewhat reflective. But yeah, so these are already made. We already have them in stock, and they will be made available on our website as of tomorrow. So if you want them, get your orders in. And that's basically that for, those are basically our 5 announcements actually.
But we actually have a little bit of a mini announcement we've already talked about a little bit on social media already.
I even forgot about additional photos. There's the model. There's the model there. So ready to go, ready to be purchased as of tomorrow.
They'll be on the website and available at stores as well. So, but make sure you see your store pretty quickly because we're guessing these will get scooped up very fast.
Yep.
So there's our 5 big announcements. I'll just touch on the last thing very quickly. It's regarding our Auto Flood 3 rapid discharge coal hoppers. We talked about this a little bit on Facebook a little bit earlier this week, but we have added unnumbered 6-packs for all paint schemes. They're only available in 6-packs, but they're available now. And if you'd like to buy a set and decal them up, we're working with Highball, Jim at Highball. He's developing different sheets for each different road name, and those will be available when the auto floods arrive, probably early next year sometime. So that's great.
Unfortunately, Jim's actually making decals, not decals, but
okay. Thanks, Bill.
Just had to have some fun. You can toss an A in there and you can kill me later.
How do you spell color, Bill?
The wrong way, probably.
So let's see. Maybe we do another question or two. Still waiting for our question and answer person to log in so I can get these. Actually, you know what? Let's look at something else first. Let's go and look at our samples that we just got photos of today. This is something that Dan's been working on for a while, obviously. See if I can pull it up here. Hold that thought. We had one Facebook post about this already today, but we've got the first sample photos of the RS11s, RSC14s, and RS18s.
Well, looks like that one is the DWP Central Vermont unit. Notice the unique exhaust stack on the roof, the dynamic brakes in the short hood. I don't know if you got a better side-on shot, Jordan.
Let me see if I can scroll through here. I think that might be, that's one side there.
It shares the Canadian underframe of the RS18 with the lightweight trucks and the smaller version of the fuel tank. We've done that as well. This will come, I guess, painted in DWP, Central Vermont. And I think we're doing it in the Larson Green to start off with. It seems to be the one everybody wants. And subsequent runs will probably follow back with the DWP versions in the stripes and the blue and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, there were several different paint schemes that these wore over the years, so we'll definitely be able to get more runs out of these.
And this is the all-new tooling design where the underframe separates from the sill assembly a lot easier. So you can lift the body off in one piece,
Mhm.
not have to destroy the model to get it apart.
It's much easier to maintain and just to do pretty much anything with it. It's very straightforward. Very similar to how the B36 is designed, for instance. Just one piece shell, remove the screws. I think there's what, 3 or 4 screws under there?
No, it's pretty easy. It's held on by just at the couplers. And there's 2 screws at each end, so it comes apart fairly easy.
All right, so that's the DWP. We actually just have some more sample photos that I can scroll through here. So that's the other side. That's a dark photo, but
Dark
that's the other
photo,
side of the DWP. There's the end shot. You can see those are those metal grab irons?
Yep.
Yep, we have metal grabs, metal railings. Again, these are pre-production, so there are some
The end fillings this time are all done in plastic. Before we had metal and plastic and they weren't staying together very well. So we've retooled it, but the end handrails are all one piece now and you won't have that problem.
All right, very nice. That's on the end railings there.
Yeah.
Excellent. The roof shot there. See the fan in the roof. Dynamic brakes on the short hood.
So is that a spark arrestor on the exhaust? What is?
Yeah, they got that weird conical spark arrestor in the exhaust.
Never seen that before. That's weird.
Underside. And the RSC 14.
That's my baby.
Yeah.
So, all new trucks. Basically the RS18 body again. Not too many changes to that other than the filter packs on the side. We've also done both versions of the intercooler. So you can have the large or the small one. Again, it has all the new sill body constructions for the one-piece body.
Full cab interior, of course, with the illuminated control stand.
Same as the first one, yeah.
And these samples should actually be, I think the factory's sending them to us pretty soon, probably the next few days.
Yes, Colin said they'd get them out in the next day or so.
Okay, excellent. So of course, we scroll through these a bit more. Oh, there's the nickel plate RS11 there.
Yeah, Tony's waiting for that one.
But the polling pockets on the corners that I know Dan
Yeah, I was
spent
just trying to
time
see if we had
working
a
on.
really good shot of it.
That shot of the nose there that you can see the headlight with a, is that a gyro light or a kind of like an oscillator or something like that?
Yeah, it's a gyro light. Yeah.
Yeah. Of
Can you
course.
go back one picture, Jordan?
Sure.
I don't know if you can blow it up, but the polling pocket on the side of the frame there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Unique polling pockets. Yeah.
That's unique to those guys, so we actually made a whole new sill assembly for that.
A little bit clearer there. All right, so we just go to the next one then. You've seen the NKP. There's the long hood end of the NKP roof, and then of course,
What
the side
everybody's
shot.
waiting for. The RS18U. So the only thing missing in this shot is the intercooler at the end should have a metal grill over it, but the sample doesn't have that yet. Again, this is all new tooling for this model.
There's the other side there. There's a couple of parts missing, like Dan mentioned, but they're actually looking really good.
A good view of the inside showing the control stand too.
Yeah, it shows up really well in this.
They look great.
And we will get some better shots as soon as these arrive from the factory. But from in there,
With lit number boards and working flashlights, just like on the M420. So you'll be able to toggle through your white, red, and green.
are we doing ditch lights on these as well?
Yeah, that would be good choice.
No, they're not shown on the model, but they will be there on the production units. the rear. Of course, you can see that kind of funky rebuilt number board that and class light housing that
Mhm.
CP installed.
And the unique crossover platform handrail at the front there.
Mhm, mhm.
That L-shaped grab in the corner is unusual too.
Yeah, right here. That was a kind of a unique CP thing. They put it on pretty much all of their diesels.
Well, no, there was an RS-18 thing, and I guess they were left on after the rebuild.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So that's the RS-18s and the 11s and the RSC-14s. So look for a video for that sometime in the summer where we're going to get, I think, are you going to do some painted samples as these arrive?
Apparently, yeah.
You've got nothing to do, so.
No, nothing to do.
All
Are
right.
either of them two colors?
Don't go there.
Yeah, that was the N scale bus. Just two colors. You can paint them in what, an hour?
Different colors later.
Yeah, exactly.
And after having to disassemble the whole thing with from the super glue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebuilt it. I think you spent a whole weekend doing that one, as I recall.
My thumb healed up too.
Yeah. All right. So what else have we got here? Maybe we go to some questions. Well, we're going to talk about the order deadlines coming up anyways next week. So we got a question about the F-59s, particularly the Metrolink units, asking if we've reached kind of the threshold for the 2 at-risk schemes. We're getting close, but we're still going to wait until we see those numbers coming. We'll get the bulk of the distributor and dealer orders on or around the 15th. So that'll be kind of when we can really say if they've really met that minimum order or not. We're pretty optimistic they will be, but we'll find out probably sometime in the next week or two. Like I said, the order deadline is coming up on the 15th. That's Tuesday, I believe.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why don't I flip back over here? I'll bring up the website. So we'll do a quick review of the F-59. We'll look at the buy levels as well. So there we go. There's Dan's custom painted Go F-59.
There's a new video up, is there not, of the
There is.
F-59 and Go?
Do we have the link in here? I think there's the original video. I don't think the link is up yet, but if you go to YouTube on Rapido's YouTube channel, the buy level video with the operating F-59, that went up this afternoon. Was it this afternoon? Yesterday. It was yesterday or today?
The link is in the newsletter for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah, it'll be in the newsletter anyway. So yeah, and we'll be putting that up on Facebook probably over the weekend. So we'll get a look at that on different platforms. But again, here's all the road names in the first release we're doing. So we've got the Go Transit delivery. We've got the later version of Go Transit. That's how they kind of look like right now. The paint scheme is by and large the same, but there's been a couple of detail variations. This is the earlier. The as delivered have the earlier car body, phase 1 car body. Meanwhile, we're using the phase 2 car body on the later units because they were built kind of several years after the first ones were in the 90s. We've also got the special Go Transit logo, which did not last long. I think it was only like a year or something like that. Experimental scheme, and then it was repainted back in the standard scheme.
Yeah, they had used that logo on their bus fleet, and they tried to put it on a locomotive, and I guess it didn't really work.
Yeah, exactly.
Still very unique though.
Oh yeah. Of course, we've got the Metro units. Those were ex-Go units that were rebuilt pretty thoroughly. Metrolink in the phase 1 delivery scheme. This is one of the schemes that's at risk. I know I've ordered one of these myself, so that's actually probably my favorite of the Metrolink schemes. So you want to put your orders in for those if you haven't already. There's kind of the more well-known teal stripe scheme. These have done quite well. No concerns about these, but again, make sure you do get your orders in. And finally, the Metrolink ribbon scheme, another one that has been surprisingly not sold particularly well. So we're going to see how those numbers are.
I think that's the neatest of the bunch, to be honest. I like that.
It is a really neat paint scheme. It looks very striking. Of course, we've got Montreal AMT. Trinity Rail and the Lone Star scheme. And the Exco lease units. These actually ended up all over the place. VIA had these for a while. I believe some of these are down, they were working for Metrolink until earlier this year. Former Go units, they were never repainted. A lot of them got sold off to leasing companies like Larry's Truck and a few different ones. So we've got that version there. So that's the F-59s. Maybe I'll swipe back over to the bilevels.
Other thing too, Jordan, with our YouTube channel, don't forget to make a plug about what I think is one of your best videos yet, your Rapido Motors video.
Oh yes, Rapido Motors. We did. Jeremy and I, we drove up to Barrie. Well, he lives up that way, so we drove up there a few weeks ago to film the Caprice and Impala video. And we actually, kind of a funny story. We set up at this old, rundown, decrepit car dealership west of Barrie. And we set up shop and we're getting ready to shoot. And this guy pulls up in this 80s Chevy pickup truck, wants to know what we're doing there. He says, good thing you're filming it this week because they're coming next week to tear this place down and build a subdivision. And sure enough, Jeremy he was passing by a day or two ago. It's gone. So the entire backdrop to our Caprice video has been leveled for a new housing development. So we got there just in time. But yeah, both of those videos are up. They both one went up yesterday, the other one up today. Let me just bring back the bi-level page here. We got some new photos too of Dan's custom painted set. I think Josh, I'll let you talk about this a little bit if you want. You're kind of the go-kart expert. So
I don't know if I call myself an expert, but I did do enough talking in that YouTube video.
yes, you did.
But one thing that I will say that I forgot to say in the video is that, as nice of a paint scheme that Dan did on these cars, the only knock I have is that it really knocks out a lot of the finer detail on the cars, like the rivet detail. Like, it's just exquisite. Like, you see it on some of our pre-painted samples that are done up in the silver. It really highlights some of the detail you see on these cars that are just, it's not that visible on some of the other products out there. But I think overall the sales of these cars have been actually really, really good. Doing the video and going over these cars and testing them out, I'm actually very surprised and very impressed with how well they roll. Still a few refinements to do to make them just that little bit better. A couple of operational improvements, but by and large, they're essentially ready to go.
Also, keep in mind that in the video, we didn't have, so the cars were they were the first samples we got. The lighting systems have not been installed yet, but we are doing interior lights. They will have headlights, ditch lights where appropriate. I believe we're doing the red marker lights, red class lights.
Yep, just the reds.
Yeah, and that will be you can operate that on DCC or DC using your Rapido lighter, which will be coming with every car.
Yep.
And there also, there's a DCC plug too, if you'd like to add a decoder, I believe.
Yep, cab cars only. And there's also pre-wired contacts so that you can wire in a speaker as well. And the speaker itself, there's a cavity behind the cab. So you can mount it there. So your sounds will actually sound like they're coming from the front of the cab car. The lighting design in these cars, it's not just one lighting board, it's actually 4, so that all levels get even, consistent lighting. They're equipped with a capacitor, track pickup, so you're going to get constant flicker-free lighting out of these. And and you can get they'll come with the Rapido lighter magnetic one, so you can turn the lights off if they're in the yard or if you're just deadheading. And really looking forward to these.
And it's interesting. A lot of our the commuter stuff's done really well, and especially with the buses. The buses they were sold out. We sold out every bus pretty much, except for the one we just announced, the Edmonton bus. Pretty much when they arrived, they were already gone. So whenever we do a new run of buses, they sell out almost immediately once they've hit. Yeah. But, let me go back to go through the paint schemes again for the bi-levels.
So there are those photos there in the silver paint from the factory. They really highlight some of the roof details, the rivets. the different panels, and even the some of the grill work as well.
And there you got the see-through steps. Again, we've got Montreal AMT. And of course, we've got multiple 3-car sets and also additional for pretty much all, I think for all the paint schemes, we've got an additional unnumbered car, which will come with decals. So if you'd like to custom number your car, you've got that as option as well. There's the Go sets there.
Yeah.
And
Go
these
has
are
a
all
couple of extra sets too.
Mm-hmm. Go tends to operate their cars in 6, 10, and 12 car sets. So you always need more cars.
Mm-hmm.
We got Metrolink there.
Metrolink is an interesting one because it's actually a mixed set of car styles. So the cab cars are a series 2. Those are from inauguration in 92. Whereas the coaches are actually smooth side welded sheet cars. And those are from, I want to say 98, 97 or 98, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So it creates some interesting variety in the train set, much like the real thing.
And then to go with the F-59 again, we've got Trinity Rail Express, Dallas Fort Worth. The early Miami Tri-Rail scheme. This is from the early 90s, and these cars actually lasted for quite a while, well into the 2000s, I believe. How far, do you know how far these lasted until? Or are they still around maybe?
I mean, they started bringing out the palm tree scheme, I want to say in the late 90s, but I think there were a couple of green cars that lasted into the 2000s. Yeah.
And it was very much based on Go's design. I think originally they were kind of weren't they built for a highway construction project, and they were purchased, and in case they didn't need them, they could sell them back to Go.
It was something along those
Yeah.
lines. I think Miami Tri-Rail was done as a trial. I think there was a lot of skepticism that it would actually work. So the cars were
to go transit.
Yeah, like they're exactly the same as Go, same interior colors too.
West Coast Express.
That's another one of the mixed sets. So the cab car is an earlier riveted car, but the coaches are welded cars. So.
And then undecorated, of course. We are offering undecorated for the 3 different coach bodies and the 3 different cab car bodies. So if you'd like to custom paint some.
And we're not offering individual cab cars, right?
Only
Only
the undecorated.
Only in the undeck.
Yeah.
And of course, this is the first release. If you don't see your favorite road name here, we'll probably get to them in the next run. There's still lots we can do. We've got like Coaster and Sounder and all kinds of different paint schemes. So
yep.
Just the first batch. So that is the bi-levels. Of course, in this car, that's missing the bell on there, but we did get those. They actually sent them just in time for the video. So small things.
Yep.
All right. Stop sharing that for a sec. So what else do we got closing? Oh, we've got the Caprices. Let me bring that up. So we can bring that website up here. One sec. So this is actually it seems like a pretty short announcement and order deadline scheduled, but we're making lots of these. So June 15th is the order deadline. That's to guarantee that you will get the colors that you want. But we are making tons of them. So we anticipate we'll have lots available. If you don't get your order right away, we should have extras, but we do need that June 15th deadline to guarantee the orders. We'll actually be going to the factory with these pretty quick, probably towards the end of June, early July. And if everything works out, we should have these maybe as early as the end of the year before Christmas. So that is in the works. I don't know if we don't have the photos here, but I can bring those up too in a sec. But we've got a whole list of different paint schemes. We've got 3 for the sedans, Caprice Classics. We've got the Chevy Estate wagons with the wood applique on the side. Got the Impala Taxi. We've left that kind of unpainted, so you can choose which scheme you want to do. If you've got some decals, you can change that to whatever you'd like to do. But in the future, we do plan on doing actual maybe some taxi companies or a variety of different agencies. Similarly with the police cars, we've got some kind of generic police cruisers and fire department vehicles. First run, we're really looking forward to doing licensed vehicles. It's a bit of a process to get that, but that's all on the list of things to do in the future. Of course, we've got an Amtrak car there, and CN police and CN maintenance away. So that's, like I said, June 15th. Please go and watch our video too. That was lots of fun to make. It's only about 2 minutes or so. I'll see if I can actually grab some photos of the cars here. We did get the first decorated samples. If you haven't seen them already, I'll bring these up here. Let's very quickly do a review of them. So these are the first samples. These are pre-production. These aren't final versions. There's some tooling changes that we need to have addressed. The major thing is the windows haven't been polished. And there's some minor fit issues, so we're going to be fixing that. Some other things with the paint, we'll be changing that maybe a little bit on some of the cars to more match the accurate GM colors. And especially with the sedans, we've got the chrome strip kind of in the wrong place, so that's going to be adjusted on the production model. So we'll be showing more on that as we get new samples.
You have a close-up of the hubcap, the wire wheel there?
Yep. Let me just scroll through here. So you can see the dog dish on the Impalas. I got a good side-on shot. So there's the wire wheels on the Caprice estate. Those were really nicely done. They actually got the Chevrolet logo right on the side of the hubcap, which is nice, right in the center there. I've also got white walls, and this is a real rubber tire with full tread on it. Different shot there. Again, you can see that the windows need to be a little bit polished up, and that's something we're working on. Please go.
For early samples, so these are great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These are kind of just proof of concept engineering samples. This is the sedan. This has a different wheel on it as well. Again, there's that's the incorrect chrome striping on there, so ignore that for the moment. But this is it's kind of almost like a metal hubcap that was used on some of the cars. That was one option. We couldn't decide which one to do, so we added a few different versions. Well, that's the Caprices. And what else do we have coming up for deadlines?
Not so much deadlines. I do want to make a plug for some of our exclusive bus models, though. If you don't mind, I'll just do this fairly quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So these are already out. These have shipped to dealers. So this the first one here is for London, Ontario Transit, 70s through the early 90s, before they started changing to a different paint scheme. These are exclusive through Otter Valley Railway out of Tillsonburg in Ontario. So that's one. Let's see. This one is for Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. This one is an exclusive run to Carrera Designs in Minnesota. It's kind of like a red. The photo doesn't really do it justice. It's kind of like a deep reddish orange. Kind of a red dip, if you will, but very bold, very striking scheme from the 60s and 70s. Then we've got, this was for the CTC, no, wait, hang on. I can never remember my acronyms for Quebec Transit System. This is basically the South Shore of Montreal. So Longueuil, Quebec. This is an exclusive to Boreal Trains out of Quebec. And today he actually just announced a surprise one that was previously unannounced, which is CTCUQ, which is Quebec City. And that's also available exclusively through Boreal Trains. We have links to their stores on our website. Boreal Trains has a Facebook-based site. The others have their own proper websites. But if you go to our bus page on our website, you can just click the link and it'll take you to their respective websites where you can buy these. If when we're doing future runs of either buses or even cars, locomotives or that, if any dealers are interested in custom models, please, contact us. We've done these for a number of years now, and we find them they're actually quite successful.
So one other thing that we actually have announced an order deadline for is the CPR D10 steam 460s. So maybe I'll pop up some of the pre-production shots here. We actually got a new sample this week. Let me just see if I can dig it up here. Give me 1 sec. D10.
Yeah, this is actually the first reasonably complete sample we've got. It's got the rivets on it. It's got electronics in it. It's much closer to a production model. And of course, it's in pieces on Dan's workbench right now.
Yep, yep.
It doesn't look like that right now.
I don't want to see it.
So this is the new sample. Again, it is pre-production, so there is still some updates to do. But there it is. And this one was running. We actually had it on the test track when it came in earlier this week, and it was running beautifully. So we're really happy with that so far.
As we get into painting and so forth on these, the wheels will be painted. The pilot wheels will be painted. The finish is going to be a little bit less glossy. So I mean, this is a hand assembled pre-production model that Dan and I have been going through. Dan in particular.
Another side-on shot there.
Complete with shipping damage on the tender.
What was that?
Complete with shipping damage on the tender handrails.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah,
It is without the
does
cab
have-
on it if you want to see the bulkhead detail.
Oh, there we go.
Gotcha.
All right, so that's the D10. We are going to be closing that order deadline on July 15th as well. I think, do we have any other order deadlines on the 15th? I don't know if we do or not off the top of my head, but
We will have a video of this thing running and so forth as soon as Dan gets it back together.
oh yes, of course, the RS11s. So maybe I'll do a quick rundown of those paint schemes again. So I think we looked at the samples, but we'll look at the very quickly look at the schemes we're doing in the second run. This is our second release of RS11s. Scroll down a bit here. Actually, right there you can see that's, I know we've showed this off before, but that's the new design. So it shows you how easy it is to take this apart. You don't have to take different hoods off and stuff like that again. So we've redesigned that right from the ground up. There we go. We've got Burlington Northern, Cascade Green. These were ex-Northern Pacific.
Yes.
Correct. We've got the interesting, the
Steam bell on the
giant
roof.
steam bell on the roof area. There's the BN Northern Pacific patch outs. So basically the scheme is pretty much the same, but the side of the cab, they put new number and the BN sub logo right down there. We had a look at these samples a minute ago. That's the Central Vermont. And also, oh, the DO piece farther down, but the Delaware and Hudson. Probably one of our most popular road names. I haven't seen the sales numbers yet, but D&H always tends to sell very, very well.
That's a classic scheme.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I might be biased.
Who? The O&W ran it, right?
No, but it was a direct interchange. right there in a couple of years.
Yep. There's the Duluth, Winnipeg, and Pacific. This is the delivery scheme. So for the CVs, we're doing kind of an early 80s version with the green and yellow, the CV noodle. For the DWP, this is the as delivered. When would these have been delivered? Probably around 56
Or
54.
yeah.
And they were very early production RS11. So they have some.
They were the first RS11.
Yep. Going down, we've got Main Central. We have 2 numbers for Main Central, and then the Portland Terminal, which is a modification or a variation of the Main Central paint scheme. Of course, the very stark New York Central scheme. What's the name of that scheme, Bill or Dan?
We were calling it the capital scheme, and I believe we've been corrected on that, have we not, Bill?
I'm not sure, but it's the one that used the early or the kind of an experimental logo. I think this is one of the few locomotives that they actually used the logo on. Jordan, if you could pop that any larger, but cab side logo is
There you go.
Have,
That stylized a little, that's very cool.
mhm.
And nickel plate, we showed that sample a few minutes ago too. Got the neat dual headlight driver light combination on the short hood. That's another
Pulling
scheme.
pockets.
Polling pockets, yep.
Yep, yep. Can't forget that. Northern Pacific as delivered. And the seaboards, that's the last one on the list there for this release. That's actually a really neat scheme. What's approximately the dates for this one?
Again, it's around 54, I believe, they were built.
Mm-hmm.
Mid 50s anyway.
Nice. Again, that order deadline is coming up on July 15th, so it will be the D10 and the RS11s. We'll work on getting a video for these probably sometime in early July. Same with the D10, Dan's doing his best to get that put together and painted and equipped with a decoder, so we'll see how that goes. All right.
I actually talked to the message with the factory back and forth this morning, and hopefully we'll have a oil burner sample showing up as well, so we can show the differences between the two.
Cool. Yeah, don't have to paint and letter that one, I hope. We'll talk.
You gotta figure out a bribe.
All right, send me down the decals. I'll do it.
Eccles or the decals?
We got someone asking, oh, we got to go back to there.
Figure we'll throw it back up, but
Sure.
yeah, I saw a couple of questions. People wanted to see the schemes all over again,
Sure.
just what we've announced. So just kind of a quick summary.
Mhm.
So we've got the HO scale B36, kind of a second run. We've got Santa Fe Kodachrome 7497. The only reason there was only 2 locomotives done in this scheme, the only reason we didn't do the other is it had significantly different battery boxes. The class lights were plated over. There was a couple other details as well. Conrail with the white sill stripe. We got Conrail quality. The 2 units that got SP speed lettering and SP in the Roman lettering. Both the Southern Pacific versions have updated tooling, which now includes the straddle beacon on the roof rather than the gyro light. And we've got another release of the HO scale 53-foot Husky stack car. Couple of reissues of paint schemes we've already done. Ferromex is new, and TTX on track for the Cure. That's a new number and a slightly different paint scheme. We've got the N scale B100 SP boxcar. Pretty much a duplicate of our HO release, same paint schemes and N scale.
Same road numbers as well.
Yep.
Plus undecorated, of course.
Yep. And we've got the HO scale single USRA single sheath boxcar in 15 schemes plus undecorated.
Nice variety.
Yep. And a special release of the Edmonton Transit new look bus from the 80s and 90s. And that's pretty much it.
Yep. We have a lot of people also asking if, because we were kind of teasing with a GEVO picture. We're definitely not doing a GEVO, but we do have some other modern stuff somewhere in the pipeline there. So stay tuned for that stuff. We should have some interesting announcements later in the summer.
New stuff, old stuff, middle stuff, all sorts of
Oh
things.
yeah.
Colorful stuff, boring stuff.
Boring.
That's an opinion,
Boring.
but
What are you working
do
on?
you consider boring?
Well, not my stuff, but I'm sure there's some O&W coming down the pipeline.
Oh, that's boring.
no, I've pretty much shot that one.
All right, let's see if we've got some questions here. I still haven't heard from my my question and answer person. So think I'll just go it alone.
Yeah, I
give
think
them
it's
the
In
night off.
action.
You guys talk amongst yourself for a second. I'm gonna look up some questions here.
Oh.
Don't all talk at the same time.
What's on everyone's workbench? How's that?
Yeah, let's go with
Oh,
that.
we know what Dan, okay, what,
Well,
what, per-
Dan
what,
has
per-
a D10, I hope, you know.
what personal projects are on your workbench?
Personal? Nothing.
He doesn't have time for personal. He has a D10 in one of my camelbacks to finish, so. it's-
And I don't have a workbench still, so, okay, Bill, it's on, you're on your own.
Workbench is a mess.
That's organized compared to mine.
Oh, no, it's a mess. And that's all the inbound work.
Oh, wow. And of course, your hobby shop walls in the background. It's just,
It's just one parts wall.
Remember, if you
And,
need parts, make sure to call Dan direct. His phone number is,
Gosh, we've had this talk.
I know.
I know where you live.
Crap. you
And
do
for
too.
everybody that's asking, Dan is not underwater this evening. He got a new webcam. So
Hey, it's weird. I think this is going back.
Dan's underwater and Jordan's in a tunnel, but
yeah, yeah. Sounds like he's in a submarine. So.
we'll work on our sound for the next one.
Yeah. RTL Turboliner update. We actually should see those samples pretty soon. I think we saw some of the tooling shots a couple of weeks ago. I think we put that in the last newsletter, if I'm not mistaken, a few weeks back.
Yeah.
They're getting really close. We haven't seen anything yet, but I've actually assembled samples, but we should in the next maybe 2 to 3 weeks if everything is going to schedule there.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm not sure if the tooling is done yet, but once it is, they'll do some injection tests and make sure everything is fine.
Mhm.
And then once they got something that's respectable and somewhat looks like an RTL turbo, they'll send us photos.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And
hopefully we'll be
hopefully
able
when
to
it
share
shows
those.
up, it's not a Camelback or something like
Hey.
that.
Well, speaking of Amtrak things, the factory sent a photo of the first part of the E8 the other day, which is the chassis.
Mhm, mhm.
It's probably the least impressive looking part for the locomotive, but just does
Chassis or the weight?
what is it, over a pound, I think, just for the raw chassis? Yeah.
It was just slightly over a pound, and it was just the weight for the chassis and the fuel tank weight, and that was it. That's
the raw block before they put anything on it. Yeah.
Mhm. And that's not including the motor or any of the other bits and pieces or trucks or anything like that. So
Exactly.
that's going to be quite the hefty model. So shouldn't have any problem pulling a long train. Did a question about for an update on the H16. Do we have an update? And we kind of do. Yes and no. We were working on something we can't talk about quite yet, but in the not too distant future, we should have some pretty exciting news about that. So stay tuned.
I think actually
It's not dead.
No, it's
Not
definitely
dead.
not dead. It's not dead. So very soon. Keep watch for our next newsletter, maybe. So, what else do we have here? Any plans on doing the commuter cars in N scale? And what do you see as being? Is there a lot of market, you think, for that kind of equipment in N?
It's possible. I mean, I've never handled, I know that they've been done in N scale previously. I don't know how well they run. I've seen them run, but you know, I'm not an N scale expert myself. So, I guess there's always a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just throwing something out with that. We do have the product suggestion form on the website, and despite claims to the contrary, we do actually pay attention to some of the stuff that comes through on that. So,
Yep.
If
Yeah,
you
for sure.
like to see this stuff, the best way to do it is get you and a whole bunch of your friends to get up there and put in a plug for it on the suggestion box.
Yep, the database actually calculates everything. It looks at what scale, what era. It divides everything up and categorizes everything into, I guess, almost like a spreadsheet. What is a spreadsheet actually? So we do go over that and we see what people are looking for. So
I saw a comment somebody had made earlier that we don't pay attention to this, when the fact is that only came about, 2 months ago or so, and it takes 6 months to a year to get a project from the idea to something that we're going to be talking about. So give us some time.
Yeah. And we are trying to really do that in both HO and N scale. We're working on new projects, whether it's something from the transition era, something from before that, 60s, 70s, 90s, modern. We're aiming for a nice balance of all of those different eras, as well as Canada, the US. We've even got our first, is that our first Mexican car, the Ferromex, the well car?
I believe it is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so we're branching out, and it's exciting. Plus, of course, we got our UK division, which is kind of doing its own thing, which is quite exciting.
You're doing some fantastic stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's Bill, that's a lot of, you're all integrated with that anyways, so that's.
Yeah, they've just taken it and run with it. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of energy and a lot of fun projects.
Yeah, we've got a fantastic crew over there in the UK kind of handling that stuff. And like I mentioned before, if you are ordering any North American stuff in either the UK or Europe, we are distributing that product through our UK Rapido UK division. Pre-orders are available at Rapido UK. We won't be stocking product through there, but any pre-orders can be ordered directly through their website. And like I mentioned also, Rapido UK items will be available in the future through our website, through the standard Rapido.com, RapidoTrains.com site. We're working on that, and sometime in the next maybe month or two, that should be ready to go. Any update on the TCS decoders? Are we? Do we have anything in the working with that still, or?
We're going with the ESU on the PA, which we've discussed, and TCS, as I understand it, is still working on their new decoders, and that door is not closed yet. But for right now, we've got to go with what we can get and what works.
Exactly. SW1200s, will we see more Canadian ones, SW1200 RSUs? Questions actually even talking about the American ones. Is this the last run of American 1200s? And we can definitely say no to that.
We know to everything, really.
Yeah.
The 1200s are on the table for future runs. So are the RSs. It's another project that just keeps on giving. So look for years of different versions down the road.
And if we're done with 1200s, we could do other switches.
N-scale Horizon and Comets are in production. Someone asking about that. Again, that's on our product delivery schedule on our website, available 24/7. But we will have some updates pretty soon on that. Hopefully we'll have some pictures in the next little while. I know we had on Instagram, we posted a photo of the Comet cars. I can't remember if it was the Comets or the Horizons, kind of in the early stages of production a little while ago. So they're coming along. They shouldn't be too far beyond the HO Comets, which I think those are in the paint shop right now, if I'm not mistaken. Josh, maybe?
I believe so, yeah. Yep.
We were complaining about the number of colors on the seats. So
Oh. Hey, they saw the photos and they were designing them.
Yeah, exactly.
but they didn't think we'd be crazy enough to actually do all that stuff.
Yeah, they should know by now. We're kind of a little crazy.
Well, we kind of work for one, don't we?
True.
Yeah, he was supposed to be here today, and then he had forgot he double booked. So
I think the boss's boss double booked him tonight. So.
Exactly, I think it's something like that. Someone's asking me about the RS18Us in terms of all the paint schemes. Are they good to go? Like we said before, we don't really know yet. This is information that comes in at the order deadline. The bulk of our dealer orders come in right the week of an order deadline, so that's when we really get an idea of what the sales will be. So there are some RS18Us that are what's the right word?
Jeopardy.
Yes, well, not necessarily in jeopardy, but we're waiting to see. They're conditional, so we'll see how that turns out. We'll find out in July when. Well, actually, no, that's the only RS11s. The 18s will be later, so that's going to be later. We don't have an exact date yet. Maybe late summer, early fall. but we're playing that by ear based on how the samples go. All right. The EP5, I think that's getting ready to probably leave in August. For maybe I don't know exactly the date yet, but
They're working on it right now.
mhm.
There'll be some discussion tomorrow, I think, in the newsletter about the decoders at the moment are a bit of a challenge because of the worldwide chip shortage. So we're going to have locomotives waiting for decoders, I'm afraid, for a few weeks at least.
This was the same thing with the B36. We were actually expecting them in the factory,
Yep.
ready to ship them a while ago, but we just can't get chips. We can get them, but it's just delayed. So otherwise, they're actually made. They're ready to go. They're ready to be packaged. Just once they drop those chips in, they can send them off. And this is another thing we're going to talk about in the newsletter tomorrow. Is aside from the chip shortage, there's also the container shortage, which has been kind of a bit chaotic over the last few months.
There was the COVID outbreak at the port as well.
Yeah, supposedly there's been some pretty significant COVID outbreaks in China the last few weeks. So that's kind of slowing things down. But the things are still moving along just a little bit slower than we expected them to. All right. GM Suburbans, I know we talked about that once, so the possibility of doing that for a future run. That would have to be a new tooling, but something we'd also like to do. Those were the ones without doors towards the rear there. We have any more questions? I think we're starting to run a bit dry. So
Jordan would like to do a Crown Vic, no doubt.
Wrong company there, dude. I'm sure GM would approve it.
yeah, GM
Not
will
bad.
approve.
No, you got Mr. Police Car
Put
sitting
that
there.
one through.
Maybe one day. I don't know. There's a lot of Crown Vic models out there, though. I know Bush has done the Aerovics from the '90s, and there's been a couple of the more modern versions. But
We need some good 40s cars.
yeah, standard like everyday 40s cars.
That's right.
What was the request we got today from Keith?
Oh yes, Keith. He sent us a photo of. Was it? I haven't messaged him back yet, but in case he's watching, I did see your message. Photo of a 39 Pontiac Chieftain or Strato Chief or something like that. Interesting car. I don't know if we'd ever.
I think it was a Canadian only.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'd probably swap a grill out and do an American Pontiac. But, anything's
Got Bill's Alley. Good on a little country road there.
yeah.
There you go.
Actually, that would fit your
Getting right up the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell Jason we're gonna make that just for Bill. And Keith.
Oh, come on. He gets buses. He gets.
Now that we're doing the ETS buses, are we doing the trolleys?
I'd like to.
Mm-hmm. Would it have to be
Bit
that
of a
much?
limited reach, but they've got a
Yeah.
cult following.
And
Yeah,
they would be
that's-
non-operating. It would just be a
Oh, of course, yeah.
solid.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure if someone wants to be crazy enough to actually have 12-volt live overhead and power the lights, go for it.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think we're starting to dry up there, but we've been on for a while now, almost an hour and a half.
Mhm.
Anything else we want to kind of chat about? Any more questions? The questions are kind of drying up a bit, but
Again, the newsletter is coming out tomorrow. All this stuff will be covered in the newsletter, along with some other things as well. So
I
Yep.
guess we should also mention Matt doing St. Louis RPM coming up,
oh yes,
and he's also doing Deschler with
Spring Creek.
Spring Creek Trains.
great.
I love that show. That's a great little show.
So
Just watch out for deer.
no, you watch out for deer. I saw it.
When we had that ridiculous Jeep with every time we would drive down the road and a truck would pass, the whole hood would like
The
maybe.
deer cleared the hood by maybe 2 inches.
Oh yeah, that was close. That was very close.
But it was a good deal on a rental car. What can you?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Jordan, you don't have any luck with rental Jeeps, do you?
No, I don't. Actually, it worked okay. It was just really cheap, I guess.
I think
But yeah,
I had great luck with that Jeep in Denver.
that was.
Yeah, I didn't have a
Come out in
problem.
one shot.
I think
Didn't have a
you
camera.
can start a blog on rental car experiences with Rapido, but I think that's,
No, no, it's
How
just,
about the one in Denver scraping the ice off the inside of the windshield? It was
I got
so
a
cold.
picture of that. I actually got, yeah, it was what 2 years, it was 2019. We were in Denver and we got hit by a snowstorm on the last day of the show and we're driving to dinner. And yeah, there was no defrost. There's no heat. So
I got the
Dan
ice scraper on the inside
scraping
as
the
I'm
inside of the
driving.
window and driving down in a snowstorm. So that was a lot of fun. But I actually missed that show. I want to get back there the next time.
It won't be there. They're tearing it
They're
down.
tearing that. Are they tearing it down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming down.
Have they decide where it's going to be moved to, or
Haven't heard yet. No.
it's still gonna be a while off anyway. Hopefully that will be back up and running. We got our usual question about when we're doing the H1 A's and B's. That's sometime.
well, actually, do you want to, I can share screen, but you're gonna have to give me a second.
Yeah. Not that we've actually announced anything yet, but it's kind of the worst kept secret in the world.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna say,
absolutely the
I
worst kept
don't
secret,
think
so
it
we
really
might as
matters
well.
at this point.
yep.
Don't forget, you have to, when you show the photo, you have to describe its accurate wheel arrangement.
Yeah, tell them the new wheel arrangement we got.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bear with me.
I guess we can kind
Well,
of
talk amongst yourselves while I go through
Yeah.
400 files here.
Well, this is an unofficial kind of announcement that we weren't really planning on talking about, but let's just say we're announcing a new locomotive without actually officially announcing a new locomotive.
Yes.
But I guess the H1ABs are coming, and as Bill is poking away there, we're going to show you some renderings.
Yeah.
There we go.
So here we are with our very unique 4424. Because the factory has managed to leave off one of the connecting rods, but these are actually the first drawings of the H1AB that we told you for a while we're doing. So they are coming. We'll make an announcement probably later in the summer on these.
Yeah. Probably don't have too much longer to wait for, but that's
Or
good.
everybody asks, yes, we will be doing that special number.
But
What number was that?
I think it's 28.
1, 2, 3, 4. That was it.
2804.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome model when the time comes.
So yeah, we'll when we get a little bit further here, we'll make a full announcement with schemes and so forth. But yes, the steam program is proceeding.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the H6, we'll get to that eventually. We're going to finish off with the D10, and then we'll reevaluate that.
I think
Still
I know
need more
where we
orders.
should make that announcement.
Huh?
I think I know where we should make that announcement. I
What?
haven't been there
Yeah,
in a while.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I haven't been there yet. So.
Yeah, well,
Do they still have a warehouse?
If any of us can travel, yeah.
no, hopefully they're talking about opening the border up to what? July?
Is it?
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe
Possibly,
talking.
yeah. Well, right now, just as a comparison, I think the adult population over the age of 12 anyway in Canada is almost 72% vaccinated, and the second doses they're still pretty low, about 10 or 11%, but that's going up pretty fast. So
Well, they just announced today in Ontario that they're ramping up the second doses, moving up the
Yeah.
timelines.
and we're actually starting. We're a little bit behind everybody else, but we're starting our reopening starting actually tonight at midnight.
Midnight.
We can actually go and buy light bulbs at the store again, and
And you can have a drink from midnight to 2 a.m.
exactly.
The bar's closed.
We're now allowed to sit outside when it's 30 degrees on a patio and eat dinner. So,
I'm just impressed with the numbers, the daily
Yeah.
cases. It's plummeted. It's a
What was it,
quarter of what it was a
94
month ago.
yesterday in Toronto?
yeah.
That's great.
Well, up here in Peterborough, but we're still locked down pretty much. We can't go into a store. And I looked at the daily case count in Peterborough. We got a lot of people here. There's about 81,000, 82,000 people living in town. Case count was 2. So,
We got you beat. We've been 0 for the last week and a half.
yep. Yeah. So, hopefully this is coming to an end. It's been a long time.
Yep.
Looking forward to riding Amtrak again too. maybe this year.
Make an announcement, they got real food again?
They're getting real food and daily service on the long distance trains in the west. I don't think they're bringing back the Eastern dining cars, at least not yet.
Hmm.
But
Still good
yeah,
news.
it's good news. And meanwhile, the Canadian is back to once a week in each direction. And I don't know how well it's doing, but it's at least it's running. So in a limited capacity. Yeah, hopefully that will come back too pretty soon. So.
Yep.
All right, well, that's been about an hour and a half. So anything else you guys can think of? We've
I think we're good.
yeah, had a pretty fun evening. Just don't forget to just a reminder, get your orders in for everything that's coming due on Tuesday. We do have the newsletter coming out, so we're going to have the full list of announcements in the newsletter, product deadlines, order deadlines. Again, sorry, go ahead.
All the product announcements that we are making don't go live on the website until tomorrow, until the newsletter comes
Yes,
out.
yes.
So if you're up there saying, "Well, wait a minute, I don't see the N-scale boxcars
Yeah.
up," give it until tomorrow.
Yeah. Probably we're aiming for late morning if all goes well. Don't quote me on that necessarily, but hopefully that's when the newsletter will go out and the website will be live. So yeah.
And if you happen to go on the website and it's showing see your dealer, well, and we don't have any stock left at Rapido, so just see your dealer. They should have ample quantities.
Mhm. All right, so I guess that's about that. It's been a pretty good evening. We've got a lot of viewers today, so
Thanks, guys, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
yep, thanks for tuning in. That was a
Sticking
great
with us this long.
event. What's that? Sorry.
And sticking with us this long.
Yes. All right, we will.
And Jason will do the next one.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you
All
later.
right, take care.
Okay.
Have a good night, guys.